Hello all, thanks so much for clicking on my channel. I'm Mommy Days and I am a mother of a 2.5-year-old. Well, actually he'll be 3 in almost a month. Need to get out of that habit of saying 2.5. And he just loves to read. Let me first start off by saying I am no expert at this, but I would like to share some tips on what we've done in our household to try to foster a love for reading, a love for books. And so far, so good. My son, actually, if we stop reading to him, he cries sometimes because he just wants to read one more book. He's very curious and just loves going through pages and understanding what's going on and just talking about the different stories. This video is just about different tips of what we did in our household to get to this point. It may not work for all children, but it worked for us. So maybe some ideas that you can build off of for your children. So first I'll say we started reading in the womb. So when I was pregnant, my husband and I would both read books to my belly, and it was a really special time. And I think it really got us in the habit of reading children's books. It was something that was fairly new to us. It was our first child, and it probably been many years since we really sat down and read to children. When our son was first born, we immediately started reading books to him, at least 5 books a day. And this is a newborn child. So we read at least 5 books a day up to probably about age 3 months. And after that, started increasing him a little bit more. I would always take his hand and turn the page. We really used it as just like bonding time where he was sitting on our laps. It's just quiet time together and creating certain routines, especially at bedtime. Well, as he got older, starting about 9 months, started visiting the library regularly and going to story time. So I'm sure your local library has story times for children of different ages. So we would bring him there. Then after the reading, we would go through the library and just go through the shelves and find interesting books. I literally started this before he was even able to walk. We would go through the library and pick books off the shelves, bring them home, read them for 1 to 2 weeks, and then bring them back and do it all over again. We would go to the library story time 2 times a week. Just a really great opportunity also to meet other moms and other families and see what they're doing. So even now that my son is 3, we don't attend the library as much because he's in school most mornings, but we do make it at least one time every 2 weeks to pick out new books. This time we probably get about 30 books at a time. He'll go through some of them, see which ones are his favorite, and for about 2 weeks to a month, we'll read the same books to the point where he really memorizes them. He just loves to read. I also had a very good friend of mine that every single month, from when he was first born until he was 1, she sent us a book every month, and that also encouraged us to dive into books. So sometimes my son maybe wasn't interested in reading. That's a rare occurrence, but sometimes it did happen where he'd rather play toys. I would still read. So while he's playing with the toy, I would hold up a book. Sometimes I may just have the book facing me and just read the book out loud. Or I would turn the book to him while he's playing and read. And I would see him kind of playing and looking over at me just to see what was going on in the story. So even if your child doesn't sit down for a reading, continue to read. Just still read to them. Also, it would be great for the child to see other people in the household reading. Kids do what their parents are doing, what the older siblings are doing, what their caregivers are doing. They want to do that. So if they see you reading and spending time with your own books, then they'll likely do the same at some point. Some of the books that we have props that go along with them. Even if they didn't come with props, I would find some props. So we have a truck book. So I would turn the page, talk about the different trucks, and ask him, go find your truck. So we would line up all the trucks just as they were in the book, and he thought that was a lot of fun. Also, some books that we have came with props. So with these props, one is, it's about a mouse and a bear and a strawberry. I can't remember the name of it. But for each of the characters in the book, there's a prop that goes along with it. So he would sit down and play with the different props while I'm reading, and I would point it out like, oh, there's a strawberry, where's the strawberry? Oh, they're cutting the strawberry, let's pretend to cut the strawberry too. So it really made it not just like a reading session, but also a game. That was a great way to get him very engaged, especially when he's in a moment where he really wants to be active and playing. It's a great way to combine the two. Now I would like to move on to a session that I just went to in my local library about active reading. I got a lot of great tips from this session, and I really wanted to share it with all of my viewers. So active reading, what is that? Actually, I should have looked up like the technical definition, but it's just getting your child involved in the reading with you, to put it very, very simply. So there are ABCs of active reading. So I have a few notes here, so I'm going to look down quite a bit. So A, ask questions. B, build vocabulary. And C, make connections. So with active reading, as you're reading, there are techniques in how to engage your child, to really get them interested, introduce terms to them, improve the literacy skills. So I'll just go through a few of the concepts, so maybe you can also incorporate them into your household. So we have first print concept. So that's introducing the book. When you pick up a book, introduce the book to them. Show them the title, talk to them, tell them the author's name, talk about what the cover is on the book. Before I went to this active reading workshop, I was reading a book how adults would read a book. Well, how I would read a book. Let me not speak for all adults. But that's really just to get to the end, to find out what the conclusion is, to find out what the ending is. But for children, it should be more of a story that you're bringing them through. So with that, just really paying respect to every single page and every picture that is on each page, so the child can really embrace it and get in tune with the book and just learn new things about their world and vocabulary and such things. There are things called picture walks. That's when you're maybe not so much focusing on the words in the book. You're focusing on just the pictures. So maybe it's some reading sessions you have with your children, don't even really truly read the book. Just look at the pictures and see what story the pictures tell. Maybe at some point your child will be able to tell you the story just by looking at the pictures. So that consists of looking at one picture and seeing and allowing the child to develop the story themselves. So on one page you may say, oh, the dog's playing with the ball, and then look again and say, oh, now the cat's playing with the ball. Just allowing them to walk through the story on their own, ignoring all text. And then there's talk more, which just involves talking through the story. After you read a page or don't read a page, just talk about what happened, ask them questions, and make connections to their world. So if you are talking about a dog and a ball, you say, remember you played with the dog at the park yesterday. Was that fun? So ask different questions, repeat what your child is saying, or provide an answer. Expand with additional words to really elaborate a bit more on what they're saying. Ask follow-up questions, make a connection, and provide praise and encouragement. Now talking about vocabulary a little bit. So when I would get books for my son, sometimes at the library, sometimes I would feel that it was a little too advanced. Maybe the vocabulary was just too advanced, or the story was too long. So going through this workshop, it made me realize that I had it totally all wrong, that I should challenge him in this way. And there's vocabulary that he doesn't understand. I shouldn't shy away from the book. I should explain what the words mean. Children's books have so many different words in them, rare words as they're called. So reading gives you the opportunity to expand their vocabulary. So sometimes if you come across a word like why that you maybe don't use every day, you can just use some hand gestures or connect it to another term like big, and then ask them to repeat the word. And then lastly, connect the word to their world. So maybe have a set of words that you use every week and incorporate them into your daily life. So you may say, oh, this table is so wide. Do you remember just like the wide truck in the book that we read last night? I just really connected to the child's world like that. So then now I want to talk about open-ended questions. So those are questions that you cannot answer with just a yes or no. So I'm just going to read a few points off of open-ended questions. So questions that ask children to combine the book with information that they know, also help children learn how to make inferences and to start longer conversations about the book. So this is what open-ended questions would be. So an example of open-ended question would be, why do you think the child likes trees? Maybe it's a book about a tree and a child. Why do you think they like trees? And then you can connect it to their own world. Do you like trees? Yes, you do. Why do you like trees? Oh, so story questions, the answers are always the same, but the open-ended questions really can be a lot more colorful. And as you're going through some of the open-ended questions, you can help build their vocabulary by really filling in the blanks with some of the words and the sentences that they're trying to form. So I hope this video was helpful to you, and I'll see you next time. Happy reading!